Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report, today for November the 11th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. And of course, we are in the thick of a new season of consoles. Yesterday, we saw the Xbox Series X and the S hit store shelves. Tomorrow, we see the PlayStation 5. A very exciting time and plenty of news to dive into. So if you want to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But we have some very big news in the world of mergers and acquisitions this morning. TakeTwo is buying Codemasters. TakeTwo Interactive, the publisher of 2K Games, 2K Sports, and Rockstar Games titles, is buying Codemasters, the folks who make Dirt, Grid, and F1 racing games. The $994 million deal is expected to go ahead in the first quarter of 2021, TakeTwo said in a news release on Tuesday. Strauss Zelnick, chairman and CEO of TakeTwo, said that the acquisition of Codemasters will be highly complementary to TakeTwo's sports portfolio, which includes NBA 2K, NHL 2K, PGA Tour 2K, and WWE 2K. Zelnick praised the UK-based publisher for its renowned history of creating some of our industry's most beloved and commercially successful racing franchises. Codemasters itself has grown substantially in recent years with acquisitions of the former Evolution Studios team, famous for MotorStorm and Drive Club in 2016, and Slightly Mad Studios, of course famous for Project Cars and Fast and Furious Crossroads in 2019. Codemasters' latest game, Dirt 5, was released on PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One on November the 6th. The rally game comes to PS5 and Xbox Series X this week. It has been a very busy year of consolidation for the video game industry, with Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax Media and adding Bethesda Softworks to Xbox Game Studios in September, and Sony completing its acquisition of Insomniac Games last November. So this is not something that will immediately shake up the way that you experience Codemasters games. Of course, again, some of the biggest games that Codemasters has created includes the Dirt franchise. So those are pretty monumental in the world of racing, and on top of that, they just do really, really well. They make good games. And so this is a very wise acquisition, in my opinion, from Take-Two. It fails to be seen how it's going to impact the way we receive games because, of course, Dirt 5 has been a very popular game on the Xbox Series X marketing team. It has been a very big part of the next-gen push, both for Xbox and for PlayStation 5. But the head of Take-Two has said that he's not really sure how the subscription-based model is going to work going forward. He's not sure that he has full faith in the subscription models like Xbox Game Pass in being the way that people experience games. So does that limit the potential of this game being on Game Pass at some point in the future, specifically in regards to Dirt 5? Potentially, but that's probably already in the works if it is in fact happening. But on top of that, it will be interesting to see if Game Pass is adopted and provided some kind of support from Take-Two going forward. But Codemasters is officially becoming part of that family. Now, Rocket League is getting a bit of a boost. You see what I did there? That was a pretty good joke. Been thinking about that one for about 24 hours. But it has gotten a 120 Hz mode on the Xbox Series X and S, but not on the PlayStation 5. Or I should say, these updates are coming. Rocket League is getting a next-generation update that will enable it to run at 120 frames per second on the Series X and the S. Developer Psyonix posted a blog yesterday detailing the changes. These include a new video quality option in the car soccer game settings that will come later this year. On Xbox Series X and S, you can choose between either the quality or performance modes. On Series X, quality gets you 4K at 60 FPS with HDR. Performance, meanwhile, delivers 1512p at 120 frames per second. Series S does 1080p on 60 at quality and 756 at 120 with performance settings. For the PlayStation 5, Sony's backward compatibility implementation is holding the game back. Psyonix says that Rocket League will run at the same checkerboard 2160p 60 HDR as the PS4 Pro version. The studio likely wants to add support for 120 frames per second on PS5, but unlike Xbox, that would require an update to a native next-gen version. PS5 cannot run backward-compatible games at 120 frames per second. The author AdventureBeat originally wrote about this here and how it might prove a problem for live service games on PlayStation 5. For now, this is likely only an issue if you are someone who runs games on a 120Hz capable television or monitor, and while those do exist, it is more likely you are using a 4K set that tops out at 60Hz. By the time most people upgrade, it's likely that developers will update their games to run natively on both Sony's and Microsoft's new hardware. I do believe this is a problem for some, but the large majority will never have to experience this at all, because Rocket League, no matter how you experience it, is a good game. From the Nintendo Switch all the way up to the highest version on PC, it's just fun, and I think that really is going to come out in this new update, because 120Hz is going to bring a whole new level of smooth to the game on consoles, and specifically on the Xbox Series X and the S, it's a fantastic place to play it, and the PlayStation 5 is going to be good as well. PS4, Xbox One, no matter where you play it, just play Rocket League if you have not already. But I will say the PlayStation 5 holding back these updates is a bit disappointing. Hopefully this will be remedied in the future because, of course, a lot of people would love to play the best version of every game, and developers want to be able to push what they are making. And so for Sony to be able to kind of tear down the walls that are holding that back would be a huge benefit if possible. Now, we do have two back-to-back stories with some bad news. A YouTuber's PS5 has already died. But now, for the Xbox fanboys getting ready to dance on the grave, you might want to hold your breath for a minute. The PS5 has not officially launched yet, and already we have our first casualty. As with all console launches, some units are bound to be faulty. Even though it's very early days for PS5, we already have our first dead unit. The only PS5 console game reviewer, Jeremy Pinter, has no longer works. Pinter, better known as ACG on YouTube, revealed on Twitter that the unit no longer powers on. The YouTuber has seemingly been having issues with the console constantly rebuilding the database, particularly as he has used external drives to store and run some games while testing it. This later escalated to boot up and network errors, and the PS5 console currently does not turn on. Pinter said he has been going back and forth with Sony support to try and fix the problem before things completely went south. It is not clear exactly what actually caused his unit to fail, but given that Sony's troubleshooting attempts were unsuccessful, we may not find out for a while. It's obviously too early to say whether others will run into similar problems at launch, but no console has ever launched without problems. Indeed, we have yet to see any other reports of faulty units. For all we know, this may just be one isolated incident. Now on the Xbox side of things aren't looking great either. Xbox Series X videos seem to show smoke rising from the vents. Videos circulating on social media appear to show smoke pouring from the vents on brand new Xbox Series X consoles. In a post on Reddit last night, user, oh wow, that's a name, isn't it? Her-Su-Tophilia, jokingly told members of the Xbox Series X subreddit that his friend's Xbox Series X came with a campfire feature. In a short video, the console can be seen in an upright position on the floor with smoke coming from its vents at the top. And there you have it. There is the smoke coming from the Xbox Series X. Again, allegedly. This has not been confirmed, but it certainly looks legitimate. Now, in a response to a repost of that video on Twitter, user Eric Adamwitz said they were suffering from a similar issue, posting their own video, which looks significantly worse in my opinion. You have this, and then you have this one, which looks to be literally on fire. That looks devastating. That is horrible. Hopefully that is going to be remedied very quickly. But, of course, on Reddit, another user said their Xbox had also started smoking and giving off a funny smell, leading some people to suggest that the malfunction was due to a burned out electrical component within the console. So, at this point, it is too early to say whether this is a widespread issue, although launch consoles can sometimes suffer from unexpected faults. Reaching out to Xbox support is likely to be your best bet if you're affected by a similar problem, as it might help to determine the scope of the problem. I would say if your console's smoking, it's probably going to need to be sent in for repair or replacement. Just my 2 cents. Last week, a PS5 overheating in a supermarket display case was unfortunate for Sony, but these billowing Xboxes mean Microsoft will be hoping they are the exception to the rule of being no smoke without fire. And so, this is very, very disappointing, but of course, this is part of the new console cycle. The PlayStation 5 has not launched yet. There are probably going to be issues with that console as well. So I don't want to pass judgment on either of these consoles yet because the PlayStation 5, there's one that's already died from a YouTuber, and that's early on with no general population having access to the system itself. The Xbox Series X is smoking. Now mine has been perfectly fine. I was playing it for about 4 hours last night. Very fun console. No issues at all to report. Looks great, plays great, smells great, tastes great. it's fine. But I will say, you might run into some issues, including this, which is literally a smoking Xbox. That sounds horrifying. But to round out today's show, a new Serious Sam collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Last month, Devolver Digital acquired Serious Sam developer Crow Team, and now they are starting to roll that partnership out beyond the scope of future entries in the Serious Sam series. Announced today, the Nintendo Switch is getting the Serious Sam collection, priced at $29.99, netting you all the content from Serious Sam HD, the first encounter, Serious Sam HD, the second encounter, and Serious Sam 3 BFE, with the 2 expansions. The collection is out soon on November 17th, so if you are a Switch-only user and want something to do during the 2 new console launches before Age of Calamity, you are good. This new SKU was initially spotted on Nintendo's eShop by prying eyes before Devolver Digital decided to just tweet it out and make it official. No physical release plans have been discussed yet, nor are there any announcements for the Xbox Series X or PS5 ports. I would love to see this game collection come to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. I just need it because I'm not playing it on Nintendo Switch. I don't play Switch. Not anything against the console, it's just not something that I feel compelled to need. I had one and I never played it. So to see these come to other consoles would be nice, but of course this is great news for Nintendo fans. Now, I would love to see the newest Serious Sam make its way from PC and Google Stadia to, other platforms, but hopefully that will come at some point in the future. But if you do want to dive in on the Nintendo Switch, you have some Serious Sam games coming your way. However, that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today, but specifically these consoles catching on fire. What do you think? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.